Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dan Anderson. We have our normal international motley crew on the call. In the UK, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In the Dubai region, it's all sorts of time zones. In Pakistan, they're just getting ready for iftar, I think, at sort of 7 o'clock it must be. In China or Hong Kong, we're looking at sort of 10 o'clock in the evening, and Philippines, I saw we had someone from the Philippines there. Welcome to the call. And of course, in North America, we have an ungodly early hour in the morning. So this is the wonder of the world today in 2018, that we can speak to people all over the world in real time. And it really, every now and then, I just pinch myself because I think it's a miracle. But enough of that. Welcome all on the call. It's great to see so many of you rocking up. Today will be just a very short and normal call, because it's kind of just a run-of-the-mill thing. Everyone is focused on working on things. We see that sales are going extremely well. We have a few things to go through, but most of the things that you've heard about before already. We should probably finish this up in about 20 minutes or so. But you need a run-of-the-mill calls as well, because over 6 years we've been running this webinar, and we've actually only not ran it, I think, twice altogether. And of course, over the next 6 years, we'll carry on running it, because this is our weekly pulse beat to communicate to the leaders of the business what's going on in Leo and what's going on. And it's kind of just to sort of do a weekly check-in to people so they can pass on messages or urgent things to the field and what have you. But welcome, and here's the agenda for today. We're going to do recognition. We have a renewal fee, Brazil, executive tip, digital market service, in the news, UK Leader Summit, and notices. So nothing earth-shattering, but some cool stuff as well. First, we have a new marketing director, Chinese-speaking community, Mr. Xue Xing, and he is a chap that I have met many times over the years. Very, very positive, very, very hardworking, and of course, you don't go to marketing director without those qualities, and certainly not without an awful lot of hard work. I was making the point earlier to our Chinese members that 6 years ago, a small group of Chinese joined our business, and some of them have been wildly successful, and of course, some of them have not done very much with business, and that will be true in 6 years' times as well. Do you remember 2018? I heard my first weekly GAM, Global Associate Meeting call, and I decided to do something with it. So if you're in the building, if you're listening to this call, in 6 years' time, we'll check into you again. And did you do something with Leo Business? I hope that you do, because it'll be good for you. The people who decided to do something 6 years ago, it's been very good to them as well. But it is kind of a decision. Now, we can only run the business, and from a central perspective, or from a corporate perspective, from my role as CEO, my biggest responsibility and kind of commitment is to make sure that we run a long-term business, so that the people who are putting in hearts and soul into this, so that they have a business here in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years' time. And sometimes all our decisions, if you like, all our decisions are based on a long-term thing. And sometimes we have to do things that are not popular, but we never gild the lily. We never try to make something greater or better than it actually is. We never try to do something that is so shiny that it's not sustainable. And that's kind of the hallmarks of money games and scams, that they promise the earth, and because they know full well in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, they don't have to deliver. We have to deliver, because we're building a long-term business. One of those decisions at the moment is the renewal fee, because this is something that the business needs. Most companies in direct selling have an annual renewal fee of for argument's sake, £100 or even higher. Some of the big companies or well-established companies kind of do $199 or pounds or whatever the right number is. Now, we never wanted to participate in that, because it's just kind of not justified. But what we do have to do is we have to cleanse the database. What we do have to do is we have to separate the chaff from the wheat. We have to work out who's active and who's a participant in our business, so that we don't end up with a dead database full of holes, if you like. Especially in the binary plan, it's quite important that we do this cleansing, and we're going to start doing that now after 6 years for the very first time. Now, we're going for the 4th of July 2018, so that gives you just under 4 weeks before this goes live. And there's a number of terms and conditions, but the renewal fee is going to be like £1 a month or £12 a year. Every year on the 4th of July, for those of you who've joined before, in the years past, that will be the date. For those of you who, if you joined in the last 12 months, you will have a birth date of when you joined, and the membership fee will be applied on that Leo birthday, if you like, so on your anniversary of joining. And if you don't pay, your account will go dormant and ultimately be cancelled. But it's very, very important process that we do this. Now, obviously, this is not for the money, because frankly, the level of fee and the cost that we have in terms of running a distributorship is much higher than that. But it's a symbolic token just to make sure that we capture everyone who wants to play. And this is kind of part of building a long-term business, and I don't think many people, I think most people understand, although we've had some pushbacks from some markets, and it kind of is what it is. We will do everything we can to work with you. We'll do everything we can to make sure that we do it in the right way as our leaders want us to do it. But occasionally we have to also love you like a father instead of a mother, and do the right things even if you're not happy with it. But I think that you'll agree that £12 a year is neither here nor there, and we will start to apply this from the 4th of July. We're still tweaking and polishing the fine print of that, and next week we'll give you the final positioning on that. But we just wanted you to know so that you understand. So that's why we've been talking about this for a few weeks. So there you have it. The other very, very positive thing to focus on at the moment, and it seems to be capturing the imagination of people, is the Brazil Carnival 2019 Global Annual Conference. Now, Brazil and Rio de Janeiro in Brazil is a bucket list destination. I have been there, and it is, you walk, the sights that you see make you think all the time that you're in a film, you're in a movie, and you kind of just expect all the time to have sort of a bit of background music, because it's that epic. If you look at the Christos statue there, it's one of the most iconic things I've ever seen in my life, and it's something that if you've spoken to me 5-10 years ago, I thought, well, maybe I'd never see that, but I'd love to, because Brazil is so far away. If you look at how Brazil is in the middle of this natural harbor, it is the most extraordinary, beautiful city landscape that I've ever seen in my whole life. And of course you have all the carnival stuff, and you have the Copacabana, the extraordinary beaches right in the center of town. You can see, you can walk out from where you live and right onto the beach, and it is one of those places. Now this will be like Mauritius. If you were in Mauritius, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't in Mauritius, you don't even know what you're missing. But it will be like Mauritius, but even better. We might have as many as twice as many participants. We're already having some 100 people, almost 100 people qualified for this even now, and the cutoff date is the 31st of October. So that's not bad going for less than sort of, or just over a month of running this incentive. Introduce a new member, help them get to associate, and there's no limit to the number of tickets that you can earn if you can really plug into a number of people that want to go associate, help them to do that. You can be taking yourself, your wife, your friends, your family to this conference and to this holiday, and it will be another week in paradise, and it'll be one of those things that you will remember always. It'll kind of be before Brazil and after Brazil, because it'll occupy that large a watershed space in your brain that everything will become before Brazil and after Brazil, because I believe that's how impactful this place is. And most people would love to go there, and through Leo they get a chance to go there by earning money from building their Leo business, and also qualifying for a free trip over and above what they do to generate that income. So very, very excited by that. We've got sort of a lot of events that we're doing at the moment, but we're planning for this one. We're doing a couple of pre-event planning trips. I'm hoping to get over there myself to just to sort of put my hand on it and get my fingers on the pulse, if you like. But very, very exciting. The other thing that's coming up a little bit more closer to home and a little bit more immediate in timelines is the executive trip, the 5th to the 9th of October 2018. Now, the executive position in our plan is kind of the one that we've recognized is the first position of leadership in a networking sense. If you get to executive, you have all the skills to go all the way in our plan, and we know that you don't get there by accident. So that population, if you like, of people in our compensation plan, in our program, that executive rank is very, very important to us, because we want to meet them and we want them to meet us. It's always been my aspiration that when we have a new executive from any market, I want to meet them and I want to spend time with them and I want to get them to know us and to know me, and I want to get to know them as well. And this has been a very, very key part of Leo's business ever since the start, really. If you watch the videos and testimonials online, you'll see that some of the things that we've done have been really, again, life-changing. We've done one executive trip to Nepal, we do them to Dubai, of course, and Morocco is now someplace that I'm very, very excited to take people to. If you have any chance of achieving this before the end of June, you must try to do it. If you think that it's hard, it'll never be easy. But if you can do it at all, you can do it in 3 weeks. It's kind of, it takes a decision to do it, and it takes moving people and moving a team of people and getting them to support collectively your individual goal, if you like. By helping them be successful, they will help you be successful. Morocco will be an epic place to go. You have the souks and the markets, you have the Atlas Mountains, you have the Sahara deserts. Some of the lifestyle that goes with the executive trip is also going to be available, and we will do some extraordinary things that might be hard for any individual to do on their own, but collectively with our leaders, with the budgets that we have, we can do this for you. So really excited about the executive trip in Morocco, and I can't wait to meet you all there. Now, the digital market service, as you know, this product is really moving well now. People are starting to get it. They're starting to see that we have almost 6 months of track record on it. They're starting to see and understand how this plays. Now, you as people in the field, your biggest job is to market this responsibly, because we have, on the one hand, direct selling or multi-level marketing, or as some skeptics would call it, pyramid selling. And I always smile when they say that, and they explain that everything is in the shape of a pyramid, any organization. But nevertheless, so we have that thing that people are skeptical about. And then we have digital currencies and Bitcoin on the other side that also people are very curious about, but also very skeptical about. And you combine those two, it's not surprising that people have some questions. If you then market this irresponsibly and talk about this as an investment program and talk about this as such, then that doesn't help, and we can get some very, very bad press. So we are absolutely policing social media. If you put up things that are inappropriate, you'll be asked to instantly take them down, and we will start to suspend accounts where people are misusing social media to market this product, because we have to be very, very careful, because we're operating on a global level, and in the UK and in Europe and in some of the more developed economies of the world, this is absolutely fine, absolutely legitimate, absolutely compliant. But in other markets where they're concerned about capital flight, where they're concerned about money laundering, where they're concerned about what people and their citizens do, this is very controversial, and we have to make sure that we market this responsibly. This is not an investment program. This is an education program where we teach entrepreneurs what digital currencies are about, and we give them an experience of participating in digital currencies. And it's as simple as that. We are not going to allow any sharp operators to ruin it for everyone else. So make sure that you get that message through your team. So it's about transparency and compliance and not exaggerating. So the DMS, as you know, requires an investment in hardware. So when people purchase, we take so long for them to get their hardware set up and running. So up and including the 30th of June, the contract at the moment will start on the 1st of September. If you purchased your DMS on the 1st of July, then it could go into October, November. I can't tell you exactly, because it depends on logistics and what's going on. So that's where we are, and that's what that's about. But very, very excited by this, and it's going extremely well. So we're really, really pleased. Boom, in the news. Most people think that selling is about blah, 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 talking, beating people down with their mouth. I'm mixing metaphors there, but using your words to get a sale and saying the clever things until your prospect gives up in exhaustion and bleeding from the ears. And that's kind of the old school selling stuff. We believe that selling is much more about serving your customer. We think that selling is much more about educating a customer, and therefore listening is the key skill. Being able to understand where your customer or prospect is gives you much more leverage to move them to a place that serves them, and maybe ultimately you as well if you do a good job. So we had some major another piece of PR and an article that went into business.co.uk, and this was about one of our core products, really, which is Effective Listening by Jackie Jarvis. The idea of how to listen and how to use listening skills to help you close sales and maximize your selling efforts, for me, is a very, very attractive message to push out there. So again, use these PR pieces, use this advocacy that we provide so that people understand what our training space for entrepreneurs is all about. Now, our general manager for Dubai, Mr. Wakas Suhail, has been traveling in North Africa. Mihim Agudia was also over there, and we also did the Momentum tour in Cote d'Ivoire and in Cameroon. Andy Hansen headed that up. So it should tell you that we believe that Africa has enormous potential, and I've felt that for many, many years. I worked in a Chinese company in London that had a huge West African distributive force based out of London, but I've always known that Africa is the slumbering giant, and I think that entrepreneurship and our message is very timely there for that. So from the company's perspective, we're doing everything we can to support the entrepreneurs there, to support our people that want to build there, and if you have any contacts into Africa, or if you know people that know people there, this is the time to have the conversation, because you will find that we will support it. Now, Mr. Suhail, our general manager of Dubai, he did the first Leo's meeting and training in leadership organized by Youssef Sarour in Algeria. And again, a very, very cool group of people, very dynamic, very enthusiastic, in a country that has many, many challenges, and not least of which is how does an entrepreneur access global markets and what have you. A little bit that some of our other markets have, that through building a network in Leo, you can do so much for entrepreneurial potential for yourself and ideas that you have in the future. So this is kind of one of the messages that I want to start to refine and hone. Why should you participate in a global business if you live somewhere that's not a global place? Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a clue in the very way the question works, because from Algeria, and in Algeria, it might be hard for people to build an amazing business, although I think that the numbers support the opposite. But from Algeria, you can build a global business that goes everywhere, where there's an Algerian community that stretches and touches other communities. So there's something quite cool about that. Bringing a global direct selling opportunity to people in markets like this, I think, is one of our secret weapons. Now, the other thing that we are in the final throes for is the UK Leaders Summit. And if you are a person who's qualified for that on this call, get your shit together, excuse my language, but stop leaving things to the last minute. It drives our events team crazy. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to get on top of your staff. You have to get on top of your logistics. You have to get on top of doing things in a timely fashion and not leaving them to the lastminute.com moment. We've seen this on every single event that we organize. There's always a small handful of people that kind of don't get their stuff together. And not surprisingly, many of them don't get the visa. Many of them don't actually get to attend these things because they leave things to the last minute. So if you're qualified, the agenda information is coming out soon, but in the meanwhile, get on top of your travel, get on top and organize yourself. You need to upload your passport on the platform that we provided for you if you require a visa, organize your flights and everything else so that you can get this in process, because if you leave it to the last minute, don't be surprised if you don't get the visa. It's getting a little bit more hard in the world today to travel. It's getting harder to get visas processed. We had people that were coming for corporate meetings from one of our markets that shall remain nameless on this call, and they were said because they did the wrong application process, they were banned from applying for a UK passport, for a UK visa for 5 years. So get it right and get on top of it. And you need to start thinking like a global entrepreneur. I know people in both China and Pakistan that when they joined Leo 5 years ago, they started to plan out how they were going to approach this visa issue for international travel by creating the right credentials, by creating the right references, by creating the right sort of steady income stream, so they can show that they're a person who's legitimate and real, and not someone who is a marginal person, which then the visa authorities always have issues with because they think that they're going to abscond and stay in the country and what have you. So the travel dates are the 1st to 6th of September, and if you want to, and you get the visa to go, and you're traveling from China or wherever you happen to be traveling from, if you want to stay extra time in Europe, that's totally for you to do. You organize it yourself, but we will give you the accommodation for those dates that you have on the screen there. And then if you want to stay an extra week or two on either side of that, on either shoulder, that's up to you. And that's a great opportunity, and I think that you should, because it's good for contacts, and it's good for your soul to see places that you've never seen before. If you have any issues of support, or you need to speak to anyone, start with this events at welcometoleo.com, and they will support you, and they are really, really good, the events team. They really do everything they can to help, and failing that, go through to team support, and they'll pass you on to the right person. But just get on top of it, because the UK Leaders Summit this year will be the first time that we're doing this in the UK, and it will be rather special, and I'll just leave it at that. Now, a couple of notices. On the 12th, the Ivory Coast office is closed. On the 14th, the UAE and Turkey office are closed. On the 15th, Ivory Coast, UAE, and Turkey are also closed, all three of them. On the 18th of June, China and the Hong Kong office have a one-day closure for some kind of interesting holiday, which I don't know enough about to talk about, so that's fine. So to conclude the call, and we've done this in 25 minutes, which I'm quite pleased about. Buy in June for a September reward for the DMS. If you buy in July, it'll be October, November. Use the Leo gold and digital currency combination. Gold is kind of one of the ancient and most ancient stores of value for mankind, really, historically, and very stable in troubled times. And I think most people can see that we live in troubled times. Gold is going to do extremely well, we think. And the combination of gold and crypto, the combination of gold and digital currencies for entrepreneurs, is a very, very cool conversation starter. People are interested in this whole space, and by combining the old and the new, if you like, very, very cool conversation pieces that you can have there. And selling in the way that we do it is nothing more than having cool conversations with people. So qualify for Morocco, qualify for Brazil, and I will see you all at the top. Next week is the 18th of June, and I'm looking forward to be there with you again. So in the meanwhile, this is Dan Anderson saying thank you very much indeed for plugging into our webinar. Great to see you all. Thank you very much for your kind attention, for your commitment, for your hard work, and for your belief in this little Leo that could. Thank you very much indeed.